All right, welcome to another fun episode of Football Focus Weekly. I'm the pet man, Matt Morrow. You see on the screen tonight's show rundown, we're going to start by talking about the CFI Classic. Once again, just to remind everybody that it is coming up real fast, just like all of high school football is coming right around the corner. Then at 7:40, we're going to start with Friday Night Fowler. I started looking at his post, and I said, oh, Friday Night Fowler. Yeah, I like that. So we're going to call him Friday Night Fowler. We're going to do some county rankings in the Triad area with Alamance, Guilford, and Forsyth counties. And then at 8 o'clock, we'll have Hickory Ridge head coach Jupiter Wilson to join us. 8:15, we'll hit the Cabarrus County deep dive with county rankings, players to watch, and league picks. Then at 8:40, we'll do the same thing with Union County. And then at 9 o'clock, we'll have everyone's favorite segment, Slime Time, hosted by your favorite host, Kenneth the Engine McClamrock. So that being said, sit back and relax for the next hour and a half or so. We're going to bring you the best high school football talk show on the East Coast, Football Focus Weekly.
Well, rule number one, for as long as I have been able to drive a car, I'm getting pretty old, has been never pass a Bojangles without stopping to get something to eat.
I'm sliming the adult league referee.
God, no.
Well, dang, I mean, y'all just took my slime, because I was going to slime Coach Dillon. Because let me tell y'all about this cat.
Well, I think I got to go with sliming who's ever running these stupid robo-dollars and group callers.
I always like ending with that Jay-Z, man. It gets you in the mood to talk some high school football, man. Let's see. We had one comment before the show, which never happens, but we got some really dedicated fans. And the McClamrock brothers. Yeah. All right. Well, let's see what the McClamrock brothers' father has to say about that. Yeah.
They're fired up. They're ready to go, Pep. They're in another room. They're watching on YouTube. They're ready. They heard that you're talking football in Cabarrus County this week, man. They know that we play football in Cabarrus County too.
There it is. There it is. The world famous quote. And you see at 8:15, we'll be talking about Cabarrus County football. Friday night, Jamaal Fowler.
What's happening? What's going on, everybody? How y'all doing tonight?
He has become a mega star in
overnight sensation, Pep. That's all I keep hearing about.
Telling you, man.
Jamaal guy on Football Focus Weekly, man.
Hey, man.
Others on here too.
I appreciate that, man, but I ain't there yet. I'm there yet, man. I'm just doing what I love, man. Just doing what I love.
Yeah, I like that overnight sensation. You know, that was a good old school song, man. They have to make that your intro song. See if we can get the rights to it. Got a little money in the budget.
I appreciate that, man.
All right. So before we get started with Friday Night Fowler's rankings, real quick, I do want to remind everybody of the CFI Classic. Tickets are on sale now. They are on our website at charlottefootballinsiders.com. Please make sure to go get your tickets. Only $5. They are a great deal. Seeing 4 games on Friday night, August 11th at Rocky River High School of good high school football, man. I already know there's going to be food trucks out there. And the prices are really not that high. No one is trying to gouge anybody. This economy, we know things are still tough. And this food truck, man, they got a lot of stuff. They even got wings. I think they got wings and ribs on this food truck, man. Yeah, man. I mean, I might have to sneak over and get some, in between games, So, yeah, come on out, man. It's going to be a great night. I'm praying. Well, I know it's going to be good weather. I know it's going to be good weather. And, we had a little, we have a text group with all the coaches and everybody's excited. I think it's going to be a really, really fun time. Take your family, come on out to see some good football. Get warmed up for Friday nights, man. Because this year, as we get into these previews, I think this year it has more parity than I can remember across all of our counties. I mean, last week we talked about Cleveland and Gaston County, and we had a lot of good conversation, and we had a show that is approaching 3,000 views. I mean, that is
wow.
That is incredible, because
man. Keep working.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
that's what's up. I'm gonna keep doing my best, brother. To keep doing my best.
Yeah, I mean, for us to have, if you guys are watching this, you think about it, high school football is such a small niche audience. I mean, there's major sports here. There's soccer, football, basketball, and there are a lot of great people that do shows like this, and it's using the same or similar platform, and they don't get maybe 500 views talking about major teams. We're talking about high school football in one, area pretty much in North Carolina. And to have that many eyes is amazing. So thank you for your dedication and your support. Now, we're going to put the spotlight on Friday Night Fowler, as it's that time to talk about Friday Night Fowler's county rankings with Alamance, Guilford, and Forsyth counties. And I'm going to step off screen, which I rarely do. But when you got a megastar, you got let them shine.
Come on. Don't do me like that. Don't do me like that. Don't do me like that.
So I'm going to set you up with the first county, and I'm going to let you go. So here we go.
All right. These are my rankings, my preseason rankings for my county, Forsyth County. I'm going to start off with my number one team, the Mount Tabor Spartans. They return a lot on defense. Georgia commit to play both sides of the ball. Shamarian Snook Peterkin, along with safety Jaden Blair, Florida State not commit, but offer, and several other Power 5 offers. The defense is going to be their strong suit. They also bring back linebacker Jerome Gibson and Matthias Banks. The only thing that might be a question mark for them would be their quarterback. They were working in a new quarterback or whatnot, but with the defense that they have coming back, I believe they'll be all right to start the season off. And then once midseason gets here, they should be a well-oiled machine. My number two team are the Ragin Raiders. Bring back experience at quarterback and running back. They have to replace several key people on the O-line, but they should be okay because the JV, they're bringing up a lot of winners from the JV. The JV went undefeated last year. So I believe Ragin would be would contend for the conference title with Mount Tabor. West Forsyth is going to be my surprise team. They're probably the team that returns the most of anybody in the city. They finished last year kind of strong. If you take away the two final games against East Forsyth, they started out slow last year, breaking in some new young talent and whatnot. But they gelled toward the middle of the season. Actually, a couple games they should have won. But they have 3 D1s on the O line. You got Desmond Jackson, UNC commit. We got four-star lineman PJ Dean, Georgia offer, and several other offers, as well as conference leading rusher Kamen Chaplin, who holds a couple D1 offers himself.
Yeah, that kid came to our showcase and was really impressive. He was at the HBCU showcase back in April.
Yeah.
So I got a question right here. So when you sent this to me and I saw East Forsyth 4th, I said, "Wow, why are they 4th? What makes these other 3 teams so much better than them?"
Well, I believe those other 3 teams bring back a wealth of talent.
Okay.
East Forsyth lost 30+ players off their team last year, including their 2 best players. Mm-hmm. I know East Forsyth has a winning culture, but you can't replace that many starters and continue to stay at that level right off. Now, I'm not trying to say they're not going to win any games, because they are. It's East Forsyth. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But right off the bat, it's going to take some time for that continuity to come together. You see what I'm saying? Bringing in a new quarterback, even though he's a 4-star, he's coming from a situation where he's not used to being in that type of situation, the atmosphere, coming from Walkertown at the 2A level.
So we got a comment for you Friday night. Here is Common OSU saying he's very late, but East Forsyth is the team to beat. And he also says they brought in about 15 transfers.
Well, hey, you can bring in that many transfers as you want. Continuity is key. You see what I'm saying? And particularly if those 15 transfers aren't used to winning on that kind of stage. That's what I'm going to say to that right there.
Yeah, very true. Very true. Now, Tyrese Williams, to your comment about Walkertown, he says, "Hold up, Fowler, some good football in 2A."
Now, okay, Tyrese, you already know. I know it's some good football in 2A. You already know. I know that. But the program that the quarterback is coming from is, doesn't make any noise on the 2A level. You see what I'm saying? So that's going to be key to see how he responds once you get to the 4A level. See how that takes place.
Okay, very good. All right, so North Forsyth is number 5.
North Forsyth is they're in the conference with Reedsville. Now that's my alma mater. Coached by Bernard Williams. They bring back a 3rd-year starter and Victor Wingate, and an exciting running back in Lewis Green, along with player Kerry Miller, plays on both sides of the ball. So they lost a lot of close games last year. The record is kind of deceiving, but I believe with their experience, they're going to come back this year and play better. Of course, in the conference they're in, everybody's going to play second fiddle to Reedsville. And some of my Northside people might not want to hear that, but Reedsville is still the top dog. But Northside should, in my opinion, finish second in that conference and have a good draw in the playoffs.
Yeah, Wingate and Green also came to our showcases, and Wingate placed in the top receivers at our winter showcase, and I think Green was an impressive running back as well. So, yeah, those are really, really impressive athletic kids. Comment OSU has another comment here. He says there might be a 3-way tie between Ragin, East Forsyth, and Mount Tabor this year.
It could be. It could be. Like I said, East is bringing in a lot of new starters. Mount Tabor is working out. Is working with some new quarterbacks. Ragin, like I said, is bringing back experience at quarterback and running back, but they lost a lot on the O-line. So we can go either way. But watch out for West Forsyth, though.
Yeah. Now, West Forsyth is going to be in our CFI Classic. And, Coach Wallace, has been one of the more enthusiastic guys. I mean, from the start, he reached out to me when we were looking for teams, and, they have been locked in since the beginning. So I'm excited to see them. Traditionally, they've always been a strong team, especially on the lines of scrimmage. They always seem like they have, a pretty good running game, and they do enough in the passing game to keep people honest. So having them at 3, it surprised me, but, once you explain it, especially with those offensive linemen they have, they're definitely a team to watch.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. They finished last year strongly. If you take away those the last 2 games against East, they finished pretty strong last year, and they returned. They actually, to be honest with you, like I said, they returned the most of anybody in that conference. To be honest with you.
Yeah. So out of those last teams, 6 through 12, who is a team that we should watch in your opinion?
In my opinion, watch out for the Carver Yellow Jackets at 1A.
Oh, okay.
And Coach Washington knows a little bit about that, coaching at Mountain Island. But what a lot of people don't realize, Carver was playing with 17 freshmen last year on varsity.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and
that's tough.
So hey, and me being their PA announcer, I seen it every home game. You know what I'm saying? So they didn't give up. The only issue is, of course, at the 1A level is depth. Everybody's playing both ways. But I think with a year up under their belt and some more people coming in, some more freshmen coming in to work with those youngsters, I think they'll be okay. I think they should win. Depending on how a couple games go, they should win probably 5 or 6 games this year.
Okay, good. Last thing on Forsyth County from Tyrese Williams. Is it open enrollment in Forsyth County? My high school days, Parkland and Carver used to be legit. Don't hear much from them these days.
Yes. Forsyth County is open enrollment, man, and don't get me started on that. Don't get me started on it. But yeah, we're open enrollment up here in Forsyth County, man. So that's why you don't hear about Carver and Parkland too much, brother.
All right, good stuff. And that's something we'll talk about, as we move on throughout the season. All right, so let's go to our next county, Alamance County, and I'll let you have the floor on that one.
Eastern Alamance is probably the most consistent program in the county. They returned a lot from last year, so they should be right where they've been the past 5-6 years. Now, Southern Alamance is a surprise. I found this out not too long ago that they dropped down to 3A from 4A. So it could come down from that county. Could come down to either to who wins that matchup if they're playing. I need to look at the schedule to see if they're playing each other this year. But those are the top dogs in that county. West Alamance is hit and miss. Williams lost 10 starters on defense, but they returned that quarterback. Cummings returns everything, Brian Paler, but that's about it because the other quarterback, he transferred to Reedsville. So, and those bottom 2, Graham and Southeast Alamance, Southeast Alamance is the first year of school, and even though Graham is really not that good, Graham should get the best of Southeast Alamance.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you, I don't know much about Alamance County football, but I trust your opinion here. I do know Eastern Alamance is a consistently pretty strong program up in that county. A lot of people probably remember Cummings from back in the day when they used to throw the football around a ton.
The Air Cavs, baby. That's what I grew up on. Friday Football Fever, baby.
So what's happened with Cummings?
Well, I guess it's a situation that's happening in every county, man. Kids just want to go somewhere. I don't know, man. I really can't put my finger on it with Cummings. Like I said, I know their other starter they had to go along with Paler. He transferred. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know, man, to be perfectly honest with you. It's just like what's going on in all the other counties, man. It's just a different generation. A lot of kids want to carry on certain traditions at certain schools. So, like you said, we grew up on the Cummings Cavaliers, Air Cavs, Donnie Davis, Marcus Melvin, Ron Moore, Ernest Tennant, Brian Manning, LJ Flintoff, all them guys, man. So, it is what it is, man.
All right. Well, that's Alamance County right there, preseason poll. Let's jump to the next one. All right, Guilford County. Friday night. You got it, baby.
Grimsley. Well, what can I say? They returned everybody except the quarterback. And the quarterback got experience last year. So I guess all he has to do is come in and control the offense, and everything will be all right for Grimsley. With Dudley's gonna be Dudley. That's them D boys. They're gonna be all right. Plus, they just picked up a key player from Page, so they'll be all right. They're gonna be Dudley. They're gonna be in the mix in 3A. Northwest Guilford, they like to throw the ball around. They're gonna put up a lot of points. They return all their skill positions. Player, they have to work the O-line, but they should be okay. Eastern Guilford, they went deep in the playoffs last year. I don't know if anybody remember. They gave South Point a good game. I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, third, fourth round. Might have been third round. Page is not the same old Page, but I believe Page will be all right. Southeast Guilford is a consistent program. Andrews has an exciting quarterback. I wish I knew his name because he's in the conference with my alma mater, Norfolk State. So they should be I ain't gonna say the old Andrews, but they should be back. Southern Guilford, Southwest Guilford, Northern Guilford, all consistent programs. I just don't know if they have enough to contend with Grimsley and Northwest. Now the bottom five, it is what it is there. Smith, now give Smith about a year. Smith should move up into that top 10. But everybody else, you know what it is. You know what the deal is.
Yeah. So we know the coach at Smith now. He was, the AD at Chambers. He coached at a couple different schools here in the Charlotte area, and Montez Lash. Very detailed gentleman, organized, does a lot on social media. There's a lot of excitement in that community around Smith. He's a Smith alum. So to your point, yeah, if you give him time, I think they're going to shoot up this ranking for sure. Our chat administrator is here, and he has an insight on Southeast Guilford. Says he saw them in the playoffs last year. If they can get their numbers up a little bit, they can be really good. Depth was their biggest issue last year.
I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. Because I don't know if people remember, they gave Dudley a loss last year.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
At Dudley at that.
That's pretty tough to do.
Yeah, you don't just go over there on Lincoln Street and come out with a dub too much at Dudley. But that's what Southeast Guilford did last year. So
yeah, so for me, Grimsley, when I saw them against Butler a couple years ago in the playoffs, and I felt like that was kind of their coming out party on to a big stage across the state. That was a really good game. They were at home. They were able to pull that out. And, of course, they went on and advanced to the state championship game. I really like the offense they run. I think they, get the ball to their guys in space really well. And they scheme it up to where their skill guys, are in advantageous situations, especially in the passing game. They get the ball out quick. It's really impressive, from an offensive standpoint.
And then when they get the ball to Mitchell Summers, all he needs is a crease and he gone.
Yeah, and Mitchell Summers, he came to our showcase, the summer showcase, and was one of the top running backs in attendance there. He's very, very impressive young man. Football.
Oh yeah. So I think Grimsley is the normally I would say Dudley is the cream of the crop in Greensboro, but right now it's Grimsley. But Dudley's not too far behind. But I got to give the nod to Grimsley right now.
Yeah, and now Northwest Guilford, you mentioned they throw it around. Tanner Ballou at the quarterback spot. Real talented young man. He's on my list to do an interview with.
Okay.
Yeah, really respectful. Their coach reached out, said they were interested, and we're gonna make some time and do that here early in the season.
Okay,
for sure. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna add the other guys back in and see if they got a comment about any of the rankings here. Well, one of them's ready. The other one is okay. Now he looks ready. All right. Engine, you got any comments on these rankings, on any of them? I can go back to Forsyth or Alamance, or if you want to talk Guilford.
No, Jamaal was right on it, and I'm glad you mentioned Tanner out of Northwest Guilford. We got to see him in person a few months ago, and man, that kid's a stud. A couple stud quarterbacks in that county.
Yes, sir.
for sure.
And a lot of people, I don't know if a lot of people remember last year, Northwest Girl was the only team really to put up points on East last year. They put up 38 on East last year.
That was early. Was that early in the season?
It was early in the season. I think, if I'm not mistaken, it might have been the first game of the season.
Yeah. I remember seeing some people were saying, East Forsyth had some guys that didn't play the whole game and stuff like that.
About my shirt here. This is my mowing shirt. Now, this is a Four Fathers shirt, man. This is high quality. It's big time. My man's mowing shirt right here. Look at that. That's a man pushing a mower, making strikes. Golf course.
Billups, we would love for you to come back on the show, but I know you can't do that. He's on a permanent hiatus. Also here with us, he just changed his name. We got to see why he did that. Big Eye Weber.
Oh, Big Whale. What it do, baby?
Up with that.
What's going on, man? What's going on?
Happy to see you guys. I seen you the other night at the girls game, man. I meant to come down there and holler at you, man, but I started talking to somebody else.
Oh yeah, we was down there front row, man, cheering on my girl Allie Hollifield, man.
Yeah, bro, dog. How many Hollifields in Shelby, man?
17.
So you have what it was. It was three brothers. It was three brothers that had. All three of them had at least 3 kids, and one of them had 5.
Dang. Because it was a whole. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so you got the two. You got the oldest one. Her name was Bella. She didn't play any sports. She went to Kings Mountain. He had the Dax Hollifield that just finished up at Virginia Tech. Then you have Jack Hollifield that's at Virginia Tech. Those 3 are Coach Aubrey Hollifield's kids. Used to be the head coach at Shelby High School basketball. And then you have his 2 brothers. They have Hollifields now. The girl that played in the game last night, her name was Allie Hollifield. She goes to Memphis. And her sister last year named Kate Hollifield that said Belmont won MVP. Then they have a younger brother that's going to the 9th grade named T. Hollifield.
Isn't it one on the varsity team right now playing linebacker Hollifield?
Yeah. So his dad name is Andy Hollifield. His name is Drew Hollifield. He plays linebacker for Shelby, and then his younger brother is going to the 9th grade named Landon Hollifield, and they have a younger sister named Harper. So it's about 3 girls. It's 3 girls left coming through the pipeline and 2 boys.
Dang, boy.
All right. Well, y'all can continue that off stage because we got to get to our guests in the locker room. So more history on the Hollifields coming up. But we'll move on to our special guest. The numbers are going way up for the 2nd week in a row, and it's not because of us. It's because of our guest tonight, who graciously agreed to come on the show on short notice, and that is Hickory Ridge head coach Jupiter Wilson, the hardest working coach in the state of North Carolina.
What's up, Pep man?
He's talking to us in the car.
In the car.
Good gracious, man. Unbelievable, man. How you doing?
I'm doing well, man. I cannot complain. Doing well, cannot complain.
Awesome,
I'm actually sitting in the car because I drove up to the All-Star game out here in Greenville for the coaching convention.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so man, how are you enjoying things, man? How's practice going right now?
Practice is going really, really well. Got a lot of kids out, which has kind of been the thing that's always happened good at Hickory Ridge. So I think we'll have about 125 kids. Anywhere from 95 to about 105 have been there every day. A lot of good, hardworking kids, some kids that come in and surprise. And then the other thing is just getting a good mixture and getting a little bonding time with the coaches. I had them all come up here on last night. We met for about 2 or 3 hours and just trying to get the cohesionness with that. Had some staff changes and all that, which we've had probably the last couple of years. starting with Coach Shep leaving to be the head coach. And one of my guys got the OC job this year at Providence High School, Greg Giddings. So some staff changes that have happened, bringing some new guys and, just trying to get that meshing as well. And pretty much when we start on Monday, we should have everybody was able to get Coach Bloomfield from Chambers High School. So he'll be at Hickory this year, run the strength program for us.
Man, that's a good get right there. You talking about somebody that can build some strength. Coach Bloomfield, he's one of the best. That's awesome, man. Let's talk about that. That's something we don't really talk about, with high school football. We talk a lot about kids transferring and going to different programs. But how difficult is it to kind of teach a new, staff and integrate those guys and get, your rhythm down and how you like to do things? What are the biggest challenges around that?
The biggest challenge is probably just getting egos because, when you have, quote unquote, a lot of knowledgeable guys, a lot of guys that, which we all desire to have, know what they're doing, is getting them to get on the same page with what you're doing as a coach. So, you have a defensive coordinator, offensive coordinator. If you're not calling plays on one other side of the ball to do that, and even then from a strength conditioning standpoint, guys that are good at what they do, they all have a way about doing things, and it's just really meshing those things. And I think the other different part that's different now, maybe Coach McClanrock attested this, but I definitely this year, maybe the past couple of years, my first year and even back at my old schools, you would have pretty much 85-90% of the coaches are in the building. They kind of on your same schedule. In the last couple of years, you've made changes to make sure from a time schedule or whatever the case may be, that you can get guys that be there and all that good stuff that work regular jobs, which I've never really had to do until these last just couple years because it's just harder from a pay standpoint and just the demands on the coach that you get so many guys that are working in the building. And I would probably say those are a couple of the hardest things. But for the most part, everything's going pretty well in that regard, and I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, that's well said, man. That's well said. Yeah, you mentioned earlier, you had to go up to Greensboro like, pretty much all the coaches have to do, during this week, coaches clinics and, things like that. What's your opinion on how they, are doing the dead periods? We had that year a couple years ago where they put the 2 dead period weeks together and then everybody kind of got back and was back into the flow of things. Is that something you prefer, or do you prefer kind of like the way it is now with that, split where you have 1 dead period and then you go back for a week?
Standpoint, I wish that they would make it where the
maybe having a little technical issue there. All right, so we'll put them in back and we'll see if that gets straightened out. I'll have to watch that kind of in the background. But one of the things that's been kind of, a question is, how is the summer schedule structured? It's been a kind of a big of a contention point. Coach, I think we kind of lost your thought. You want to kind of rephrase that for us? I don't know what's happening there, but all right. So we'll kind of get them straightened out. Coach, if you go out and come back in, that might straighten it out. But we got a couple comments here while we get Coach set up and kind of in the background there. So Chat Administrator says, finally going to make the trip to Hickory Ridge week 2 of Greater Metro 4 play for the Mooresville game. Looking forward to that. Yeah, that's going to be a big matchup for sure. Also saying, calling it out, Caden Haywood will be a top 3 quarterback in North Carolina this year. He's going to go wild in that Coach Grice offense. Well, I don't know who's calling plays. I can't speak on that. But Caden Haywood is definitely a talented young man for sure. Let's see if we got Coach now. Let's see here. All right. Coach, we got you. Yeah, I think it's your sound. I think that's what it is. So we'll keep trying to work that out. But yeah, I mean, Hickory Ridge, I think, is a really talented program, man. We're going to get to our Cabarrus County rankings here in just a minute. And probably motivate a lot of teams across the area, as we always do. I want to bring in Kenneth McClamrock here, and I want to ask him about coaching staffs. Now, when you had staff changes, I know it was hard to kind of integrate, new coaches into the staff. What's the biggest challenge around that?
Pep, here's the truth. The greatest programs in the state have staffs with the most stability. When you have stability on your coaching staff, you have men, women who understand each other, who understand their roles, who understand their strengths, who understand their weaknesses. They know where they need to lean on another coach, maybe to get some advice or to see something from a different angle. And, so as a high school coach, as a college coach, an NFL coach, you want to have staff stability. Coach Wilson mentioned it because of a lot of reasons, because of financial reasons. Coaches get married, their wife gets pregnant. She says, you got to make more money. A lot of coaches leave the teaching profession. And because of that, what we've seen more recently in Cabarrus County, you saw it in Mecklenburg County forever, but it was these non-staff guys who aren't in the building who are coaching. And now that's moving down to places like Cabarrus County, where we didn't see that 10 years ago. 10 years ago, most coaches were teachers inside the building, but it's because there's a need. You got 125 players Coach Wilson was talking about. You need 7, 8, 9, 10 coaches. My last year at Central, I had 9 assistant coaches, and I needed every single one of them. I wasn't smart enough to have any less than that. I needed them because they all brought things to the table that were so valuable. But the coaches, man, that's the core of a program. A program is only as good as the coaches. A head coach is only as good as his assistant coaches.
Yeah, well said. Well said. All right, we're going to try to bring Coach Wilson back on. Thank you, Engine. We'll come back to you in just a minute. All right.
I'm back. Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Good old technology, man.
You know it.
So let me ask you about your quarterback. We mentioned him, Caden Haywood, man. What do you think about that young man? I know he's a 3-sport athlete. What are some of the things he's doing really well that you
right now, man, he's just from a making throws. We went and did a little 7-on-7 a couple weeks ago with Griner at West Charlotte, and had a kid run a corner out and thought the pass when he was throwing it might be tight. And man, he's able to get the ball in there, man. His arm strength, he did it again. We went against Coach Tinsley at Mallard Creek. When he gets an opportunity to make those throws, he just looks the part. Big kid, 6'5", 220, 230 pounds. Really put on some good weight this offseason. Was always strong kid, but really started to fill out this year, offseason wise in the weight room. Tough kid. Just kind of got that it factor. Nothing's going to scare him. Nothing's going to phase him. And with the situation with, Jalen and the guys that we got coming back, did lose Christian Hamilton. But we really got a lot of firepower from an offensive standpoint. So just looking forward to that. Michael Littlejohn, a lot of guys that are just returning, Connor Schulman. Just looking forward to, what those guys can do with Caden, man. But he's standing tall, and he's got to find a way to protect him and get the ball out to the receivers, and we should be pretty good on offense with him leading the charge.
Yeah, I was talking to somebody before this. I was telling them that you were going to be on the show, and I said, man, they are really going to be great on the offensive side of the football, man, because all the guys that can make plays with the ball in their hands, it's got a really, really strong chance to be very dynamic and fun to watch, because every time we come to watch you guys put on the show, man. No, I'm serious, man. Every time, man. It's been really, really good stuff. You mentioned a couple different names there about some guys that can make some plays. Who are some other guys that have kind of stood out to you in the preseason process?
Dominic Testa, off-season, he ran track for me. He is the epitome of a workout warrior. He just kind of got that it factor. I know he did y'all guys deal at the CFI and performed really, really well. He has really, really stood out. Jalen Harris, just because of what he is, he's our go-to guy. We played Grimsley in the 7-on-7 at UNC, was down. and just made the game-winning catch. And when I decided to go for 2 to try to get the win, he's done that. And Connor Schumann as a tailback, a little bit tough in the summertime, but he's gonna be a guy. And just looking forward to just all those guys. Defensively, had a kid transfer in, Toby Turner, and he is probably the biggest kid I've ever seen in a high school. I mean, I've seen bigger kids that are 300 pounds or whatever, but just physically imposing. He looks like he's about 275, but I guess he's 250 because he just has no body fat. Playing him on the defensive line and has really, truly made an impact. We decided to play around with some D tackle, and when he's playing in those positions, sometimes he's just unblockable in practice. So those are some of the guys that have stood out. I think secondary wise, a lot of guys are growing up. Bryce Johnson, Carlos Sharp, Ben Surgeon at the linebacker position, Miles Hudson, step they got an offer from John C. Smith. So just like the vibe of the team going into this year, and we'll see how it goes when we strap it up on August, I guess, 17th versus Jan Robinson.
Yeah. So you guys are you guys playing that Thursday?
No, we played that Friday, so I guess the 18th versus Dan Robinson.
Okay, I thought I missed something, man. I was going to put you guys on the calendar.
Same day. I knew sometime that weekend.
All right, man. My last question for you. How do you keep doing all this stuff, man? Coaching girls basketball, track, football. How are you able to continue to do this?
Great support from home. I guess that'll start number one.
Absolutely.
Wife definitely understands the plight and the expectations for me doing that. So pretty much allows me what I need to do that. So that would be number one. Number two is guys got good infrastructure with the coaches from basketball, Coach Gitney, Coach Williams from the basketball side, and football, pretty much all the coaches. And then from just a track standpoint, the coaches helping me out there, and then having a lot of transition. And then because of that, able to structure everything that I do around making sure, kind of no sport gets left behind, if you want to even call it that. And then lastly, just being honest, because I love what I do, it doesn't really truly feel like work. Honestly, the toughest time for me with all three sports is in the spring, because we got spring football and recruiting. Basketball is picking up right at the end with the summertime. And then from a basketball standpoint, you just got all those things going on. But once that part hits, football is really just football and basketball. And once the winter hits, football is kind of done. Track is still in the same standstill. So I get to just concentrate on the girls' basketball. But just all in all, I look at Johnny Sala at Monroe, and I worked under him for my first year, and I saw him doing it. And he's been doing it three sports at least for the last 17 years, and he's going strong. So if he can do it and, stay committed just about being about his kids, I'll do it for as long as I can.
Yeah, Coach Sal's a legend, man.
He is Monroe community.
Absolutely, man. Coach, as usual, I always appreciate you, man. I appreciate you hanging with us through the technical issues.
No problem.
And we'll see you at our annual Hickory Ridge visit.
I'm looking forward to it. We got turf that they approved for us this year, so we're gonna be turf and a track, which is great. But because they're getting the late start, we're gonna be the Road Warriors. So we got 7 away games this year. So we're gonna be the Road Warriors. But glad I got a quarterback and a pretty seasoned team to kind of go through that this year with those guys.
Absolutely, man. Well, be safe coming back home, and we'll see you soon, Coach.
Sounds good.
All right, there it is. Hickory Ridge head coach Jupiter Wilson, another one of the CFI favorites right there. Hickory Ridge gonna do some big things, man, and we're getting ready to talk about them and a lot more teams as we get ready to talk about Cabarrus County. And you know who is excited about talking Cabarrus County? That man right there. So I know he's going to have a lot to say when I put this on the screen here. I'm going to bring the other guys back as well. All right, so hold on to your hats because Cabarrus County preseason rankings are about to be on the screen. Mine. I gotta say that it's mine. I see coaches that are watching. Boy, this is horrible. All right, so here we go. Get set up back here. All right, Cabarrus County preseason rankings. There are, I hope I got 10 schools there. Did I get all of them, Kenneth? Did I miss anybody?
Yeah, looks like you got all of them.
Okay, all right. So I got the Ragin Bulls #1. Of course, we just talked to Coach Wilson. We talked about some of their guys that are pretty good players. I really like the quarterback Haywood, the 6'5" kid. Of course, Jalen Harris at receiver committed to Coastal Carolina. We talked about Dominic Testa, an impressive looking player at the CFI Summer Showcase from the receiver standpoint. They got a lot of weapons on the offensive side of football for sure. #2, but Northwest Cabarrus, Alex Walker is back at quarterback. I know, Kenneth, you said there is a lot of – he's been there a long time. Let me put it that way. And y'all said I missed West Cabarrus, so that's on me. So we'll put West Cabarrus in on the run here. But Northwest Cabarrus is a very, very well-coached team with Eric Mormon. That coach has been around a long time. And got a good defense coordinator as well. Coached at Mallard Creek, kind of bringing some of the things that, Mallard Creek did well over to Northwest Cabarrus and doing a really good job on the defensive side of football. J.M. Robinson, we have at #3. They're moving back up into 3A, joining a South Piedmont conference. They had a coaching change, of course. You guys watch the show know that D-Rob, friend of the show, no longer the coach at Robinson. Now they have Jason Seidel, who was formerly the head coach at Hickory Ridge, coming into that program. And they have their own talented guys. They have a quarterback in Lee, who's very talented. And they also have Baker at linebacker. And they have Herrera at linebacker. Really kind of a dynamic duo, if I could say that, on the defensive side of football. Coaching change also at #4 with A.L. Brown. Coach Harden coming in from Charlotte Latin, A.L. Brown alumni. A lot of excitement around the program with him coming back to that program. And they've got some guys, Gerard Evans at the kind of receiver / DB committed to Air Force, a very talented player in his own right. I think A.L. Brown's going to be a team to watch, kind of a surprise team possibly. That could sneak up on some people if you're not careful. Cox Mill coming in here. We had a lot of Cox Mill players at the summer showcase. The tight end showed very well. They have really good offensive linemen, came to the HBCU showcase in parts. Of course, Saxon Jenkins at receiver is a dynamic talent on the outside with an offer from North Carolina Central. A lot of talented guys on that Cox Mill team that can make some noise in their conference as well. Concord. Ken, if you know a little bit about Concord, what can you tell me about that program?
Well, Coach Shepard has those guys going in the right direction. Of course, they returned Keon Phillips, who is a multi-time CFI Showcases running back award winner. He's playing quarterback for them. They have a really good player. I'll mention in a little bit on the defense side. They've got some continuity back up front. I believe that Coach Shepard is now calling the offense. Last year's coordinator, the past couple of years coordinator, has moved on to another school. I believe he got a head coaching job in North Carolina. Concord is a much improved team. Coach Shepard has those guys believing in what he's doing.
Absolutely. I saw Concord in the kind of preseason, I don't know, spring practice period. It's kind of hard to call the spring practice when you're limited in doing things. But I went out there. They had a little setup, and I thought they looked impressive. They look a lot stronger and faster. That's a testament to what they're doing in the off season up there for sure. Central Cabarrus is another team you know about, Kenneth. I'll defer to you again. What can you say about those guys?
Yeah, Central is going to be much improved this year. I think those guys have had 2 years where they weren't very happy with how the season ended. Working extremely hard over there. Those kids are extremely fired up. Bev has a group of really, really, really athletic players that I'll mention in a little bit. And then he has the two best linemen who are 2026 in Cabarrus County, an offensive lineman and a defensive lineman, both on both sides of the ball a little bit. But Bev, I'm expecting great things from Central Cabarrus. Going back to that whole coaching continuity, this is the first time that Bev has had kind of a full staff. He's been coaching with 5 or 6 guys total the last couple of years. The last I talked to him, he was up to 10 guys. My former offensive line coach, good buddy of mine, is calling the offense now. So I'm really excited. It's going to be a really fun offense to watch to see what they're doing.
Absolutely. That's well said right there, man. Well said. Mount Pleasant. Now I'm gonna say this. When I when I take a look at these rankings, it's tough to rank, a whole county, but also keep in mind these counties don't all play in the same conference. There's different classifications. There's different levels. So even though they may be ranked overall in the county right here, I think they have a lot of playoff teams right here with the way, especially the playoffs run in North Carolina. Mount Pleasant is a dang on good football program. Kenneth, what can you talk about with those guys?
Well, I think that, Pep, you're giving them a whole bunch of billboard material. Coach Crosby is going to appreciate you having them at number 8, because Mount Pleasant, Tiger Town, one team, that's their motto. There are very few football towns left like Mount Pleasant, buddy. When I say they travel, they travel. If Coach Crosby, all he's got to do is send out one tweet, hey, we need $10,000, and there's a check waiting on his office the next day. My boys went to the basketball camp last week, and there were 100 kids at the basketball camp for first-year coach Graham Pruitt, who coached with me at Central Cabarrus. So Mount Pleasant, those football is bred into them. They're tough kids. They're hardworking kids. They've got a young quarterback who stepped into the game of his life last year, the second half, versus J.M. Robinson, and almost did the unthinkable and beaten J.M. Robinson. He's going to be a sophomore. I'll mention him in a little bit. But I would think that Mount Pleasant saying the disrespect is real, Pep.
Yeah. I don't know what to say to that. It's funny, when we started talking Mount Pleasant, the numbers jumped up. So I think the word must have gone out.
Y'all let them know that Pep is going to do y'all wrong. So just know, jump on.
I need to get the email address on the banner. I'll do that here in a minute. So West Cabarrus. I think they're a team that, they have a beautiful campus, great facilities. But what has kind of been the issue? Why have they not kind of got off the ground, would you say?
I'll say they've had turnover. They've had a lot of turnover inside the school. They've had turnover in administration. They've had turnover at the athletic director. The school is going into its 4th year, and they have their 3rd head football coach. So there's a lot of turnover there. They've got a great coach now, Coach Henson, state championship coach at Salisbury, who he's brought in. He's brought in a bunch of his buddies who worked with him at Catawba. He's got former head coaches who he's brought in staff with them. And they've got some kids who, let's keep it real, man. They're tired of losing. That school opened up with the expectations that the demographics, the neighborhoods they were pulling from, that school was going to be successful in every single sport, throughout the entire school year. And the football team has not had the success that they hoped for. And I think that Coach Henson is going to do a great job that around.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And then with Christ the King and Cannon, very good teams in their respective divisions. Christ the King, they had a really strong turnaround season last year. Really
saw them against Valley Prep.
Yeah, what do you think about them in that program?
They had a great year last year. I mean, it was incredible, the support that they had there at CTK. I'm not going to lie. When I think of Christ the King, it's Huntersville address, and I guess they're just technically in Cabarrus County. But Christ the King is doing something really special there. They ran into a really good team from Coach Trotter when I saw him play. The team who would be most disrespected right now is Cannon School, Pep. I mean, they've got one of the top offensive units in the entire county. You've got a quarterback returning who's a stud. You've got stud receivers coming back. You've got an defensive lineman who's a good player. You've got maybe the top long snapper in the entire state, maybe Southeast, who all go to school there. New coach, new staff. I get it. But if I'm Cannon, I'm looking at this going, I don't know if you've ever watched us play, Pep. The McClamright boys have watched y'all play Cannon School.
Now, we love Cannon. Obviously, we had our summer showcase there. A beautiful campus, really wonderful people. I can't say enough positive things about that program and that school. But for me, when you start looking at the numbers and this is the way I look at it, if these teams were to play each other, where would they come out? So it's kind of a power poll, so to speak. If we wanted to rank it on best programs overall, it may look different. But it's more of a power poll saying if this team played this team, would this team win?
Now I know they lost a pretty good running back.
Yes.
Without their running back, if Cannon School plays the other 10 teams on here, they win at least 3 football games.
Okay. And I could see that. Definitely. But this is now keep in mind, I always have to say this disclaimer. This is preseason. After 1 week, it will probably look a lot different because half of these teams will win, half of these teams will lose. And I like to give winning teams a lot of credit. So, yeah, I know this will be in locker rooms. It'll be on videos. It'll be on social media. But, somebody's got to talk about them, and I learned a long time ago. If nobody's talking about you, that's the worst case scenario.
A couple teams to look out for in Cabarrus County, Pep. I mean, the first one, you briefly mentioned them a second ago. A.L. Brown is going to be an extremely explosive offense. I mean, the amount of receivers they bring back, the quarterback they bring back, the line that they bring back, the hype and the excitement with Coach Harding coming back into the school. A.L. Brown is a team to be looking for. They're going to be a tough out every single week. And then I think Concord and Central Cabarrus are 2 other schools on this ranking that I would say to be on the lookout for. They're going to do better than what people think currently that they're going to do.
Yep. You always got to be on the lookout for A.L. Brown. A.L. Brown was always a strong program there in a good area. You never really knew what you're going to get player-wise out of A.L. Brown because for 1 year, they can have the best players in the county, man. It's a great area. If you've never been there to a game, I know I got introduced to A.L. Brown football culture early as a 10th grader, man. I got great fan support, great atmosphere. Like then Concord got Coach Shep, my guy. I think it's a lot of teams in Cabarrus County where I think they can kind of move up and down as the year goes. I think everybody's kind of going to be a sleeper in that top 6.
Absolutely.
I can speak on Mount Pleasant.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Mount Pleasant, the quarterback that transferring to East Forsyth this year, Bryce Baker. That's Mount Pleasant was the team that knocked them out the playoffs last year.
Yeah, we talked about that. And I think I picked Walkertown to win that game.
I did too.
I did not. For the record.
I did not either. I don't think I did either.
Yeah.
You did well. You on the right side. You just picked what I picked, Webb. You know this.
Can't go against TD Moose, baby.
That's true. That's true.
Oh, man.
They got to bring somebody else take his place. That's a lot of touchdowns.
I think the score was 28-13, wasn't it? Wasn't the score 28-13, something like that?
Yeah, something like that. Comments have been great. Chat administrator says he thinks West Cabarrus is going to make the biggest improvements from year to year in Cabarrus County this year.
Well, I think they were 1-10 last year, so they got to go up from there.
CFI, keeping it real. All right. Nick Canales, J.M. Robinson returning 15 to 16 starters. Oh, wow. Okay, that's impressive.
So they moved back up to 3A. What conference they going to be in?
They're going to be in the South Piedmont. So they'll be in there with Concord and Central Cabarrus and Northwest Cabarrus, those guys, in the Rowan County schools.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
There you go. Chat administrator says A.L. Brown is my sleeper in Cabarrus County. Their offense could be dangerous with C.J. Gray at quarterback and a loaded wide receiver group they have, as the engine just mentioned right there. Let's see. I had a couple more here. Big week 1 kickoff. Yep. Coach Juke just mentioned that. Friday night game. I got excited when he said it might have been Thursday, but it's actually a Friday night game. That's good stuff right there. All right. Karen Bell says, sorry I'm late dealing with some scammers. Oh, dang. Who is scamming Miss Belt? She's the nicest lady out here.
What's up, Miss Belt? How you doing?
Yeah, well, good to have you. Good to see you. Jonte Harrison says West Cabarrus will make the playoffs.
There it is.
Wow. Okay. I did not do playoff predictions. I did not go that far. Talking about Rocket Mortgage. Sounds like it might be a Slime Time reference right there. All right, so out of these other teams, guys, and I'll start with you, Friday night. Who do you think can kind of sneak up on somebody?
Well, I'm gonna start with who I mentioned a couple minutes ago, Mount Pleasant. Mount Pleasant is a tough, hard-nosed football team. They've given Walkertown fits the last couple of years. So with their style of offense, it's kind of different than what most people run. So unless you're disciplined, unless you're physical, you're not going. They'll kind of wear you down. You know what I'm saying? So I like Mount Pleasant. I also like A.L. Brown. Growing up as a kid, I always heard about Kannapolis Brown and the wonders and everything. So,
have you ever been there?
I never have. I know some friends of mine who played at Glenn back in the 90s that went down there and won a playoff game. They say how they told me how electric the atmosphere was. I never had to get down there.
They have this big K. I don't know. They still have that K that flashes and stuff.
Oh yeah, the perch.
Yeah. Because Kendall isn't that their stadium? They got a bunch of houses like right beside. Behind the away side.
Houses.
Yeah. And every time they score, you shoot fireworks off.
I thought they had a cannon.
They got all that.
Oh, they got all that. They got cannon and fireworks. Okay.
Indigenous people can't admit that other schools have cannons. I said,
yeah, I'm about to make a trip down there then.
Now, is it the same as it used to be as far as the atmosphere goes?
Well, Pep. You're talking about back in the day when I was growing up, and there'd be 15,000 people there. They haven't had quite the success recently to garner 12, 14, 15,000 people showing up. But, similar to Mount Pleasant, Kannapolis shuts down. Now, Kannapolis is different. Now you got all the technology buildings in downtown, and they're revitalizing downtown. It's a different world than it was 20 years ago when everybody worked at the mill. But I expect this season them to be a really, really good football team and the people to be out there.
Awesome, man. I would love to see it get back to that. I would love to see high school football in general get back to that kind of atmosphere, every, week in and week out, man.
Pep,
So
in
many things.
1997, we're getting ready to play the Bell game at Concord, and we eat pregame meal. And at 4 o'clock, we go outside, and me and a couple guys, we're just kind of warming up, throwing the ball around the field. And at 4:15 for 7:30 game, they open the gates. Now, at noontime, there would already be 300, 400, 500 people waiting in line at noontime for a 4:15 gate opening, right? And so we're down the field, we're kind of loosening up, going through a couple things. They open the gate, and you see 500 people take off sprinting to lay their blankets down on the stands. I mean, some of those games with Kannapolis and Concord were just so phenomenal back in the 1990s. I wish everybody got to experience that atmosphere. It's good for the schools. It's good for the kids. It's good for the communities. And I think Kannapolis could be getting really close to being back to that type of program.
Wow. That's awesome, man. Well, let's talk about some players here. So, real quick, because we're getting up on the Union County time, and I don't want to, take away from their time. But Hickory Ridge, we talked about Caden Haywood, we talked about Alex Walker at Norfolk Cabarrus. Kenneth, the big D lineman at Jam Robinson, Denaz White, man, what can you say about him? 6'6".
Man, he was almost going to be my quarterback. He was a quarterback in middle school. Came and was our ball boy a couple times, and I thought he was going to be a heck of a tight end. But he is 6'5", 300 pounds. When he got to Robinson after the COVID year, he was out of shape. He was behind in so many different ways, and he worked his butt off in the weight room. And now he is, no one knows about this because he goes to J.M. Robinson. He's probably the best defensive lineman, not just in North Carolina and South Carolina and Georgia, but in the entire Southeast. I mean, when I went to their games last year, the sidelines were always packed. The game versus North Stanley, the Georgia, Coach Scott was on the sideline, and he said, Coach, he is as good of a player as I'm recruiting. I flew in just to see him for the first half of the game. And the entire game, he couldn't stop talking about him. He's big, he's strong, he's athletic, he's a sideline-to-sideline player playing nose guard. He is a force. You've got to double team him. You've got to triple team him. And it still doesn't matter. He's still going to be able to make plays because he's just that big and he's that physical. Extremely, extremely talented player who, we're going to be watching playing big-time college football on Saturdays.
Well said. Absolutely. Great. All right. Go ahead, Friday Nate. What you have?
No, I was just sitting there listening to the measurables, man. They don't come around too often.
No, not the way he moves. I looked at his film earlier. I was amazed. See why
I got to start looking him up too.
Absolutely. We talked about Gerard Evans and A.L. Brown on both sides of the ball. We mentioned Saxon Jenkins, very talented receiver. Coxmill also has a very talented offensive lineman, Devontae Parks, who came to the HBCU showcase in April and performed very well as well. Concord with Keon Phillips, you talked about, Kenneth. He's really throwing the ball a lot better when I saw in the preseason spring practice. Caden Klein at Central Cabarrus, one of the best quarterbacks in the area for sure. Mount Pleasant, big offensive lineman Colt Klutz does a good job controlling the line of scrimmage. They have at Veer offense. A lot of angle blocks, down blocks, double team, getting to the next level. He moves very well in short spaces. West Cabarrus with quarterback Jared Street. Of course, we've seen him up close a couple times. Even garnered a couple offers as an 8th grader. Throws it really well. Good strong arm for his frame. Really good accuracy. Christ the King, OLDL Ivan Garcia has been to our camp before. Really, really strong player, strong young man, works out hard. I really love his motor on both sides of the ball. And then at Cannon, quarterback Tyler Green. It's been one of our favorites, for the past few years. I started covering Tyler when he was an 8th grader, going against Jaden Davis when he was in middle school at Providence Day. Incredible, man. Incredible to see how he has progressed through the years. A very talented young man in his own right. Kenneth, I know you got a couple of the names you might want to throw out there for sure.
Pep, we've got so many talented players in Cabarrus County this year. This is a really, really, really good year for Cabarrus County football. I'll start with Ale Brown. You mentioned Gerard already committed to Air Force, but they also have another stud athlete, plays both sides of the ball, running back, receiver, DB, Xavier Torture Chambers. He's got multiple offers. Pep, you know me, I'm always going to bring in the big boys when I can. 2 years ago, he was a freshman. I saw this kid play live versus North Iredale, but Ty Buster, 6'4", 6'5", talking to Coach Gray, he's up to 250, and Coach Gray always raves about him, his athleticism and his height and his length. And I asked Coach Gray just a few weeks ago, I said, Coach, man, compare him to Brandon Parker in high school. And he said, Coach, he may be better than Brandon Parker. He's pretty good in the NFL right now. Than Brandon was at his age going into his junior year. Speaking of Coach Gray, he's got a pretty good quarterback son, maybe the best overall athlete in the 704. He's a stud baseball player. He's committed to NC State to play baseball. He garnered offers from everybody. He's a pretty good stinking quarterback of his own. Chaz Knox, who I coached, his brother when I was at Concord, defensive lineman. He won a top DL award for us, the HBCU Showcase, just picked up an offer from Josh C. Smith. And, of course, Pep, one of our most loyal camp participants, man, Derek Brazil is going to have an incredible year. And then I'm going to go with the school next that you disrespected like crazy, Cannon School. We've got Grant Mills. Pep, just for some deep insight. Grant is committed to UNC as a long snapper already. When I say that he's one of the top long snappers in the nation, I mean he's one of the top long snappers in the nation. Tyler Green, Hayes Galloway, big offensive, defensive lineman. He's got multiple offers. Colin Reese, who's been to our camps, one of the top slot receivers in the area. Gavin Powell, stud wide receiver. Luke Fox, remember the long, tall, 6'3" DB who I think can play multiple positions for them. Central Cabarrus, man, Caden Klein, you just mentioned it. Pat, let me tell you something. We talk about breakout teams. Expect Caden Klein to be the breakout player of the year in Cabarrus County. Have a monster year. So much. He takes in coaching. He does things the right way. Been really impressed with him. We've seen Chris Burnett in person as well. DB, 6 feet long DB. Justin Rogers, I'm going to bring him offensive lineman, center at Central Cabarrus. He's a 3-year starter. He's going to be anchoring that line. Talon Baker, who's been to our camp as another slot receiver. And then I mentioned these two guys earlier, 2026, the two best linemen in Cabarrus County. Both are at Central Cabarrus. You've got Brandon Bevel-Lacqua as an offensive lineman, and then you've got Aiden Black as a defensive lineman. Both of them are going to play the other sides of the ball. That offensive line is going to be really, really, really good for a couple of years. Concord, we've already talked about Keon, but Jackson Joseph, who is a thick offensive lineman for them. Talked about him, but his name, Alex Petrov, an outside linebacker, edge kind of guy. They can do a lot of different things with him. I saw him play against West Rowan for the conference championship as a freshman, and he was the best player, the best defensive player on the field as a freshman. He's a junior coming up. They've got another defensive lineman, Porter is his name, who's going to have a great year. Cox Mill, you've already mentioned all those guys. The only one you didn't mention by name was Gavin Barber, who is the tight end, 6'2" maybe almost 6'3", 240 pounds, extremely soft hands, runs good routes. Once that joker becomes explosive, he is going to be one of the top tight end recruits in the whole area. Hickory Ridge, we've already talked about a whole bunch of them. Harris, Haywood, Coach Wilson mentioned Miles Hudson, who recently picked up an offer from Josh C. Smith. And then Pep, the one, we've thought a lot of showcases, Pep, and I've watched a lot of football in my lifetime. And I've never stopped to watch a kid run routes before. But every time Dominic Testa ran a route, I was like, who in the world is this kid with the flashy haircut? You remember, Pep? I went up to you and I said, who in the heck is that kid? And he goes, that's the Testa kid from Hickory Ridge. And I said, holy cow. Let me tell you, Dominic Testa is like the slot receivers that Marty Paxton had at Hickory Ridge. Those guys who just, you couldn't tackle them in a phone booth. He don't even know what a phone booth is. That's okay. It means you're really, really, really good. Mount Pleasant, I'm gonna stick up for my boys from Tiger Town. You mentioned Colton Klutz, 6'3", 250-pound offensive lineman. Bo Barbie, his dad's the athletic director. He'd been the basketball coach there for a couple of years. Safety type, a running back type, quarterback type. I watched him in the 8th grade win a game single-handedly in the 4th quarter. Just took the game over. And then I mentioned him a minute ago, freshman. As a freshman, this year he's a sophomore. Quarterback Colin Black. Pep. This kid, I don't know if he was 5'5", 100 pounds last year as a freshman, but he came in the biggest game of the season versus J.M. Robinson. And, buddy, when I say he was this close to knocking off J.M. Robinson, it was that close to knocking off J.M. Robinson. Northwest Cabarrus, of course, 4-year starter, Mr. Everything. Alex Walker, Ray J. Waters, who's been at our camp, stud running back. Jackson Forrest at linebacker, I really like. I'm going to mess up his name, Ladarian Mentor. I'm sorry if I mess up your name. Defensive end, Nolan Irwin. I got to throw in my offensive lineman, Eddie Conover at linebacker. And then J.M. Robinson, man, when you talk about big boys, what they have created at J.M. Robinson the last couple of years is phenomenal. We've already talked about Denaz, Braylon Baker, one of the best athletes overall in Cabarrus County. He can play linebacker, defensive end, tight end, running back, quarterback. He can do it all. Isaiah Herrera picked up an offer from Catawba. You mentioned him already. Braylon Canales, 2-time CFI showcases, top offensive line award winner. I believe he also picked up from Livingstone as well. Big, just hog molly. Isaiah King, my former ball boy, man, just a stud offensive line. I mean, to see those guys go up against it in practice every single day, man, they're as talented of an upfront group as any of any team you'll see around here. West Cabarrus, Josh Clark, Curtis Fields, who's been to our camp, Kieran Collins, who's a big offensive lineman. You mentioned they've got some pretty good quarterbacks now. Jared Street, who has been to our camps, and Atreyu Cooper, who's been to our camps, and Harrison, who's been to our camps. So that quarterback room just got really, really, really good, really fast. And I'm sorry, Christ the King, because I thought you guys were Mecklenburg County. You're Huntersville people. But that's a pretty good start, man. We've got some really, really good football players in Cabarrus County this year.
Well, I have to give you an ovation because that was incredible. And they definitely play football in Cabarrus County too. That's for sure. All right, so we're going to move to our next county. And don't worry, I see all the comments. We'll do best of the comments before we go to slime, so just hang tight. I will address those comments. But Union County, preseason rankings right here. Who else you gonna put at the top of Weddington? I mean, you got to go with them. We got Monroe at 2, Porter Ridge 3, Forest Hills 4, Marvin Ridge 5, and then on down the line right there. First of all, Friday night. What do you think about that?
I have no disputes, none whatsoever.
Wow. Okay.
Period. Point blank.
Big Eye Webb.
I think it's pretty fair. I think Monroe still is the top dogs until somebody throws them. But I think Monroe. I'm not sure. Weston and Monroe don't play each other, do they?
I don't think they do.
I know Monroe got. I know they have 2 guys. I can't remember if it's the quarterback and running back or quarterback and receiver. I think those guys are pretty good. I know that matchup with Forest Hills and Monroe is always a good. It's the last game of the season, always for who's getting the higher seed in the playoffs. I think it's pretty fair. I like it. I think until somebody in that area that throws Weatherton, man, they're going to always be top dog.
Yeah, Monroe has an interesting game against West Charlotte. That I think is going to be a fun one to watch.
I think
it's like
Monroe's going to be a sleeper in that game, man. But Monroe, that coach, Southwest Johnny, is what they call him. He's going to have those guys ready to go. They don't fear anybody. They don't care where you're from, how you get there. Whenever they get there, they feel like they can show up and compete with anybody.
Yeah,
absolutely.
They came up here and beat East Surrey last year, up here in my neck of the woods.
Yeah, we talked about that game a little bit.
Yeah,
I wasn't surprised, but
no, you're right.
Go ahead, Engine.
That football in Union County is as good across the board as any county in this state. They may not have the biggest names like a Huff or a Chambers or Mallard Creek over the last 10 years or so, but Union County football, when you look at the number of state championships, the number of top caliber players that have come out of this state, Weddington, Monroe, Forest Hills, Porter Ridge, Sun Valley, Cuthbertson, the list goes on and on and on. Sleeper team in this county because, buddy, the coaching staff is doing an incredible job. Webb got to see him firsthand in the playoffs last year. I was there on the sideline. Forest Hills.
They're very big.
Really, really close to being the Forest Hills of the 1990s where they competed against anybody and they had a shot to win versus anybody. From the quarterback to the running back to the wide receiver you just go on and on and on. I don't know how many guys Porter Ridge or Forest Hills has with college scholarships right now on their roster, but it's a lot. That is.
Yeah. They have a young receiver. I think last year when we played him at Shelby, he might have been a freshman maybe or something, but I got to see him in 707. He looks very good, man. He's very dynamic and got a high catch radius. Yeah, Forest Hill has it's a hidden gem over there, man. They have a lot of guys that can play. I think as of lately, they've been kind of basketball has kind of took over a little bit over there, but now I think the football team is getting back to where it's been, like as Kendall said. But yeah, man, Forest Hills don't sleep on those guys, man.
Absolutely. Out of this list, I think Marvin Ridge is always well coached. They always give Weddington some really good games. When they play Porter Ridge, it's always a good game as well. Out of that, out of below the top 5, I think Sun Valley is a team to watch. Cuthbertson lost a couple of talented guys. That's why I've kind of got them lower. Coach Mobley coming in at Parkwood, once he establishes what they want to do, I think they'll have a chance to really move up. Metrolina is always a really well coached team with Coach Langley and those guys down there. And in Piedmont, we've had Coach Braswell on the show. They got new turf. There's excitement down there. I expect them to really be improved. And even Union Academy has a couple of guys, especially receivers that are dynamic on the outside that can make some things happen, for them. So as far as players to watch, Tyler Budge, a highly recruited quarterback. He wears number 12. He looks just like Tom Brady when he's out there throwing the football. Really strong arm, good strength. Jordan Young is a big-time 4-star recruit. Has offers from just about every Power 5 in the Southeast. I saw him up close against Burns in the playoffs last year. He does some really special things with the ball in his hands where he can also be a really good safety. When he comes off the hash, man, it's just incredible explosion to the football and reading, pattern reading and things of that nature. Jared Lockhart, a 6'4", dual threat quarterback who's starting to pick up some offers, Division I offers. I think he's really going to have an improved season this year, another season in that Porter Ridge system. Forest Hills, there were a lot of ways to go. As you said, they have a lot of kids with offers. Jarrell Boulder, a really explosive wide receiver, has a lot of Division I offers. Marvin Ridge, a big offensive lineman, Kai Greer, is committed to Stanford. This kid is 6'4", 300 pounds, moves like a cat. Great feet, really agile, special talent. Sun Valley quarterback Brady Turf's going to be a senior. Really good thrower of the football, great accuracy, strong arm. He's going to be a leader for those guys. Cuthbertson, wide receiver Evan Taylor, explosive guy on the outside, 6'2", committed to Nebraska and Matt Rule. So that was a big get for those guys. What was that, Andrew?
The process.
Joining Jay-Z's process out in Nebraska.
Jay-Z playing, baby.
Parkwood tight end Jaden Barnes was a top performer at the summer showcase. Really good hands, runs good routes, 6'1", 225 pounds. Metro Atlanta Christian, Jeremy Williams. I felt like the first time I saw him was at our camp 2 years ago at Mountain Island. I couldn't believe he was a freshman. He moves so smooth, really catches the ball well out of the backfield, great agility, good hands, good speed as well, getting to open spaces. With Piedmont offensive lineman Bo Gerard, 6'2", 230 pounds, really comes off the football real well. He's a leader among that group. He's going to be a junior this year. And then Union Academy quarterback Parker St. Clair, I think is going to bring them a new dynamic on offense with his ability to throw the football in an accurate fashion. And as I said before, they have a couple of receivers that can make some plays on the outside. You guys got anyone else you want to add from the Union County perspective?
Yeah, Pep, once again, I got to see Forest Hills in action last year versus Shelby. Ross Smith, big wide receiver. Yep. He's committed to Elon. Christian Washington, a DB who recently committed to Charleston Southern. Jaquavian Smith, who's kind of an edge guy. I had to look him up last year because he just kept making plays. He's got multiple FCS offers. They've got big offensive lineman Braxton Grace, Caden Smith, who was a CFI Showcases top linebacker award winner. And then, of course, you mentioned Brady Hibbard, the quarterback as well. Metro Atlanta, Pep, Jeremy Williams, incredible running back. But don't forget, they also have an incredible offensive lineman and Peyton Reeder, who's committed to ECU, big boy, paving the way for him. And then, I'm going to be honest, I ran out of time. I want to make sure I hit up all my Cabarrus County kids, but Porter Ridge, Harrison Jones, who's committed to William and Mary. He's an outside linebacker, tight end type. I remember watching his film last year. Jatavian Taylor, another outside linebacker, running back type kid who's got multiple offers. Jared or Gerard Lockhart, I don't know how to say his first name. He's got an offer, including Marshall Gaddy, who's a defensive end, tight end, 6'5". He's like 220 or something like that. And then you've got the brothers. And Pep, I butchered names. I'm so sorry, guys.
The Clark brothers.
Davion and Dejan.
Yeah.
Good night, buddy. I mean, you're talking about both those two folks on either side of the ball coming off. And then, Pep, because we want to bring the deep, hard-hit analysis here, Porter Ridge has one of the top kickers in the state and a kid named Bridwell. So a couple of guys from Union County, of course, Weddington. We could just get out the roster and start going down the list. Thomas Davis has done that kind of stuff. They've got P5 offers over there. But really, really good football being played in Union County this year still.
Absolutely. And as Weddington, I have to mention Keenan Jackson coming over from Cuthbertson to Weddington. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do they still have their tight end split end they had last year? I forgot his name, but I was at the Weddington game.
Griffin Reimer, he graduated.
Oh, man.
Yeah, he's a talent.
Okay.
He really is a talent. But they have some other guys as well. Young man with Mock, who's another tight end. He got hurt last year. Brooks Mock, and didn't, really get a chance to show what he can do, but he's 6'4", 215. He's going to be a big time threat at the tight end position. So, I mean, it's almost like, they're a machine. One guy goes out, one guy is stepping up right in the socket to replace him, man. Kid, if you mentioned some of those young guys with offers, Andrew Harris was one of those guys on the D-line to go along with Thomas Davis Jr., and they've got some other guys as well. Sam Neely at the corner spot. really talented kid. He had multiple Division One offers. I know he committed. I can't remember off the top of my head where he committed to. But yeah, they've got a lot. They got a lot of talent up there, and they're going to be another team to always be a threat to win a state championship for sure. All right, conference predictions. Favorite part of the show. The South Piedmont 3A. In the interest of time, I'm not going to read it, but you see it. Any thoughts?
Nothing here.
I'll just leave it alone until the season starts playing, Pep.
Well, these will be posted, so I'm sure I will.
They will definitely be posted.
Hey, Pep, I got all type of comments at the coaches clinic this weekend about your rankings, man. They was coming to me all type of ways, man. I said, Pep rankings, man. Hey, all the way you can prove them wrong is if you win.
Thank you, Chat Administrator.
I'll say this. I'll just say it like this. The top 4 teams will all be from Cabarrus County. And I'll leave it at that.
Oh, so no West Rowan, huh?
You forgot North Rowan. You forgot North Rowan, didn't you?
North Rowan is on 1A league.
North Rowan 1A.
Okay.
Okay.
And then I pretty much agree with that, Pep. I ain't got nothing to say.
All right. Greater Metro 4A. Chat Administrator, I know you have something to say.
I think I switched 3 and 4.
Switch 3 and 4. Okay.
Yeah.
Why would we do that?
Why
would you do that? I'm still.
I don't know. With everything is that Knapp's Brown got coming back and with the enthusiasm, I think they're, like you said, I think they're on the rise.
Okay. Now we didn't really. This is what we're laughing at. That's not the email address, but that is Chat Administrator's opinion. So that's okay. It's all right. Yeah, so Mooresville and Lake Norman, we didn't talk about them because they're in Iredell County, and that's going to be something we do later on. But they both have a really, really strong ability to run the football, and it's impressive. Lake Norman has a huge offensive line. I mean, they've got the kid Callaway committed to LSU, and deservedly so. He is super talented. And in Mooresville, we saw what they did last year. They were the number 2 seed, I'm sorry, in the playoffs. And they made a nice little run. They got knocked out by Butler. But I think that experience is going to help them a ton. They're going to be a team that no one wants to see come playoff time, for sure. A lot of those guys are kind of back in the program. They have some really strong guys on defense with Edstrom, and their secondary, I think, is really impressive as well. They have really good speed on that side of football. They'll have a new quarterback leading them, but we know they like to control the line of scrimmage and running the football. So Chat Administrator has top 2 are a toss-up. Lake Norman has the biggest OL I've ever seen. Mooresville will be anchored by a crazy good defense and picked up a couple of huge transfers at defensive end and quarterback. So there you go. I'm sure there'll be more conversation around the Greater Metro 4, as there always is once this is posted on social media. Next, Southern Carolina 4A. Any thoughts on that?
About right.
Okay.
And there ain't too much to say about that one.
I think Union County is going to love me a lot more than Cabarrus County. I feel that. I feel the energy. You
I
know,
think they should love you a lot more than Cabarrus County.
You know, I live in Cabarrus County now.
I know, Pep. Don't forget, you're in Midland now.
Don't tell people where I'm
I'm
at.
telling people. On live internet.
Oh man.
We'll see you at the light.
You're right. It's one light. It's not hard to find. Rocky River 2A, 3A. Oh, I'm sorry. I missed this. This is the problem. I had an edited copy and it didn't save. So
That's how good Monroe is.
yeah, they're in there twice. That's the B team. That's the B team at number 5. But I might need to move, Brandon. I might need to move. I appreciate that. We'll update the Rocky River 2A, 3A for social media. I was in the middle of editing and missed that one. But now it is time. Yeah, all the rust, man. All the rust. It is time for best of the comments. And there's a lot of comments that we need to talk about because there was a lot being said, man.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go. Yeah, man. Chad Administrator says Porter Ridge always has crazy good kickers.
Sure.
What is that about?
I guess they are the same kicking coach. I don't know.
I guess so, man. Jacob Kane posted multiple times when is Rowan County rankings coming out. Well,
you got 4 out of the 6 in your group there. You're just missing 2, Salisbury and North Rowan. That's it.
Well, I mean, we can do them. We can definitely do them. I mean, whenever there's a outcry or a need, sure.
Jacob Kane, create your rankings.
Jacob Kane, I'll go ahead and start it off. I'll have North Rowan at number 1.
Oh, I don't know about that now.
Based on what I seen last year, coming back.
You know our guy, Truesdale is now at North Rowan. Highland Tech's old head coach.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, I seen him down here. Seen him at the clinic. I was down in the clinic. He said, Weber, you need to let Pep Man know. Pep Man needs to do some Rowan County right. Rowan County needs some love. And so that's funny that he said that. That's funny that he said that. He literally just told me, he said, next time you talk to Pep, let Pep know we need some love down there in Rowan County. I said, where y'all fit you into the schedule, man?
We can get them first week of August. We can do Rowan County then. Because next week, well, I'll save that announcement, but next week is already spoken for. So stay tuned, Rowan County. We'll take care of you. As I posted during your soliloquy on players, you definitely have done your homework on Cabarrus County Engine. That is for sure. Very knowledgeable. Very knowledgeable. Let's see. So Chad Administrator has a hashtag for Cannon for me. That's okay. It's okay. We love Cannon.
That won the state championship 2 years ago, Pep, and you got the number 11.
It's not 2 years
number
ago,
11.
Man.
Number
a lot
11.
of things have changed, man.
All 1 player has changed, though. That's it. They got their whole team back. They were all sophomores on that team.
No, now, hold on now. It's relative. Everything is relative. It's all relative. It's all I've always been wrong. Okay, I've always been wrong about something. You know, it's okay. It's all right. Chad Administrator says West made a phenomenal hire this offseason, too. We talked about that with their new head coach, Coach Henson. Let's see here. We got a lot here. Billups logged off. I don't know why.
I think Billups logged off once she posted Cox Mill.
Oh, okay. That's all he wanted to see. Okay. All right. Well, duly noted. That's okay.
Can't please them all, Pep. It's all right.
I know. Terrence Losh, great interview. Coach Jupe is good people. Absolutely. Appreciate him coming on with short notice. We were gonna have someone else on, but it kind of fell through at the last minute. That would have been pretty cool if we were able to pull that off. Let's see. Also, Billup says you have to respect the Bulls and Coach Wilson. Absolutely. That's for sure. Anthony McCullough says, let's go Hickory Ridge. Thank you for watching, Anthony. Appreciate that. Let's see here. A lot of comments from Billups in the beginning of the show. We were talking about Cummings earlier. Friday night, Common OSU said Kenny Lyons messed up Cummings.
Okay.
Changed,
Okay.
how they sent players and such to their schools. So,
Gotcha.
and then we posted Tyrese's comment earlier, but this is something we're going to come back to in a couple of weeks, talking about open enrollment, because that's something we've talked about. Should Mecklenburg County go to that? And I think it's a good topic, and we'll table it, but just keep that in the back of your minds, because I think that's going to generate a lot of conversation. For sure. And I know Friday night you can talk about that from being up in that area. Let's see here. Brandon Hunt says, I'll get to see a lot of these guys at Wingate this weekend, prospect camp. Oh, wow. Wingate was having all kind of camps. Okay. Well, that's good. That's good, man. And then Chat Administrator has thrown out Rowan County rankings on the fly. He's got Salisbury 1, West Rowan 2, Carson 3, North Rowan 4, East Rowan 5, and South Rowan 6.
Carson ahead of North Rowan. Okay.
You don't agree with that one, huh?
Yeah.
I was 3 and 4.
The head coach at Carson, he had a great year last year. He got those kids believing in him, man. Those kids play hard for J-Lo. Carson's gonna be improved again this year.
Okay. When they have my eye on Carson, then I know North Rowan personally. Some people I know involved with North Rowan, so I guess you could say I'm showing a little favoritism or whatnot. But I know what they got coming back. They should be.
Nobody shows favoritism on this show. What are you talking about?
North Rowan's got 350 kids, and 363 of them are athletes. That's
All right. So Brandon Hunt also says, great show, guys. Well, that show's not over, because it is that time. If I can find it. There it is. It is that time. Oh, man. I need to bring in the reliever. It's that time to slime with your favorite host, Noddy.
Pep, man, another week of slime. You know what? Let's just go ahead and start with our guy, the guy who's kind of like our prince. His name is constantly changing, constantly evolving. Today is Big Weber. Who are you sliming on today?
Oh, man, I'm still slime. I'm going to slime these gas prices, man. I was able to take a trip. I was able to take a trip last week, pulling double duty, Powerade 707 at Matthews Sports Place, then driving down the Rock Hill for my AAU tournament. And me, if you're not from North Carolina, man, we historically always say we'll go to South Carolina for cheaper gas. And I'm driving through South Carolina, and the gas in South Carolina is more expensive than North Carolina. I don't know what's going on, man, but we got to get back to South Carolina gas being cheaper than North Carolina, man.
I mean, I don't even know how you guys are driving to Greensboro this week. It went from $3.39 at the QT by my house yesterday to $3.59 today. Like, there was a time when the gas would go up like a penny a week. Like, 1 penny here, 2 pennies there, drop a penny. Like, we go up by dimes and quarters now. Like, what in the world? You're right, Webb. Let's just slime gas prices. Now, Jamaal, we caught you off guard last week, but Friday night Fowler, who are you sliming on this week?
Man, I'm sliming on this damn Heat, man. I know I grew up here, man. This can't be the same Heat that we grew up and played in, man. This is ridiculous. It makes you want to sit in the house all day, don't want to do nothing. And with my job, I have to be out in this heat all day. every day. I can't do it, man. I personally, I don't see how a lot of y'all that's involved in football, how y'all do it day in and day out, man. I give my props to y'all because this heat is horrible.
True that. Shout out to the North Carolina high schools with indoor facilities. Pep, he's sliming on this week.
This is like a post-game, I would say like a, not a post-game, but it's kind of like being a pitcher that got knocked out in the third inning, and you're sitting back and you're looking at the tape and you're like, God almighty, well, I just didn't have my best stuff tonight. And that's how I feel, man. So I want to do two slimes. I'm going to slime myself because because I was not at 100%, but I still brought what I could and got a couple fastballs over the plate. But just like the Atlanta Braves last night, gave up 16 runs. You can't win every time. You can't win every time. But I'm also going to slime two people that ain't here, and that's Robert and Brandon. We started season 5 last week, and they're already putting in PTO, man. It's like when you hire somebody new, and they ain't got no PTO built up, and they want to take days off, man. What the heck, man? We were the biggest high school football show on the East Coast, and in the second week, you're not here. You're not here, man. See, I think that's what threw me off, man. I got to have a full crew. I got to have everybody ready to go. Everybody was in their spots, and then when you throw that off, it just messes up everything, man. So. Yeah, double slime for Pep tonight.
I'll tell you what, man. When we're sliming, Pep sliming himself. We're sliming Coach Washington. We're sliming Brandon. The last time we had this many slimes of fellow cast members, it was all directed towards Coach Billups, man. Good night. You know what, Pep? I got to stay with it, man. I got to slime a football focus weekly host as well. I got to slime myself. Either that, I got to slime the people around me. How did I not know that today is the National Hot Dog Day? National Hot Dog Day, and no one told me. Let me tell you, if I would have known about it, I would have been up in Ragin County at the greatest hot dog place of them all, the Hot Dog Shack, right there in Granite Quarry off of Highway 152. Good night, Frank Furter, the crowd pleaser, the Georgia hot, grandstanding, red hot Coney, pride of Chicago, German Wienerwurst hot dogs. Man, I would not have been to Bojangles as many times as I've been to Bojangles today if I would have known that it was National Hot Dog Day. I've got to set a reminder in my phone so that next year I do not miss this glorious holiday.
Before the show started, I didn't have time to cook a full dinner. So you know what I had? I had 2 hot dogs, man.
You went about ranking Ragin County. I want to rank the amazing hot dog restaurants inside of Ragin County. You can't throw a football and not hit another awesome hot dog place in the middle of downtown Salisbury. Oh, man, good night. I got to be up somewhere. There's got a good place, not just Frank's downtown, but ain't the Hot Dog Shack. Jason, I love you, man.
Well, you still got time to go to Cookout and get a hot dog, man.
It's true. It's true.
National Glizzy Day.
Oh, man.
What you talking about? Glizzy gobblers.
Yes, there's a national day for. See, this is about the time when we go off the rails. We're good for an hour, 30 minutes, and then everything just starts going down.
Every day is a Motown football day for Cal, though.
That is true.
I'll get better with
Belt
Line
says Plumpy's hot dogs. Oh, okay.
Today, Karen Bell, you gotta let me know this stuff. Man, I would have went in there with my forefathers mowing shirt on and everything, man. Good night. The mustard, chili, onion, jalapeno. And what makes a hot dog is a fresh, kosher dill, slice of pickle. Good night. What you talking about?
I don't eat all that on my hot dogs.
Just ketchup and mustard, baby.
Oh man, I don't know. Ketchup.
I keep it basic. I'm with you Friday night. I'm with you on that. Well, what you eat on your hot dog, man?
Just a little chili or ketchup or raw.
Ketchup.
Hey, raw.
Man, he eating a Vino Wheaties in there. little kid, he's plucking out little Wheaties.
Hey, just rip it out the plastic, man.
Just eat it cold.
I don't really put nothing on my hot dog, man. Probably some chili, some good chili, or some ketchup, or chili and ketchup. Or I just eat it plain, man.
Y'all ruin y'all's dog ketchup.
Nikisha says mustard.
You don't like ketchup, huh?
I like ketchup. I mean, that's that's not. Oh wow. Well, chat administrator wants to slime you for that, Big Web. That's.
Hey, it won't be the first time, man.
Eats hot dogs uncooked.
No, I didn't mean. When I mean raw, I meant nothing on it. I'm eating it cooked now. I ain't gonna eat nothing.
Oh, okay. I thought you had a dang on food line just open up hot dog packs.
No.
At the cash.
Man. Oh no. Not me.
Oh God. Oh, Reggie Daniel says a good coney, chili, mustard, and onion. Okay, I can see that. All right. So on behalf of everybody, thank you guys for watching. Next week is the big Charlotte show. Robert and Brandon will be back. We may have some other people join us. Settle in because God knows it's going to be a long night. We got a lot to talk about with Charlotte. A lot of comments, I'm sure. A lot of opinions to be had. So make sure, set your calendar. 7:30 next Wednesday night will be the big Charlotte show. It's the biggest show of the year. And that's when I get all the DMs and ats and emails. By the way, we put up the email address again for all the people that are not happy. Please email. I will read your comments on the show next week if you send an email. pepiswrong@gmail.com. Don't send it on Twitter. Don't send it on Instagram. Send it to the email address. Because I know I'm wrong. It's okay. No one's perfect. Well, someone did tag me, and I promised that they would get slimed. I forgot about it. But someone tagged me in some of my things last week. Somebody tagged me last week in some of my rankings.
They was coming down
Hey,
they were trying to throw the heat at me.
Tagged me.
They were trying to throw the heat at me, man. I said, no. These Fat Man rankings, man.
They are mine. That's okay. I can take it. But anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. Wish you a good night and good week. We'll see you next week, 7:30. And we're going to have a show meeting right now.
Without ketchup.
Everybody. Without ketchup. No ketchup during the show meeting.
No ketchup.
All right.